Warning! The Stone Age Gamer podcast includes a lot of bad language. Cover your motherfucking ears.
Good evening and welcome to the Stone Age Gamer podcast. I'm Kris Randazzo, and joining me tonight is Overheating Jetpack, Dan Ryan.
God, there was so little foreplay. That was just like right in there.
Boom.
Very exciting.
Welcome back to the Alphabet Super Series, and where we are taking turns choosing games to play in alphabetical order. This month's pick was Dan's for the letter R, and he went with Ranger X for Sega Genesis. Was he able to get used to the bonkers control scheme? I feel like lots of explosions because the Stone Age Gamer podcast starts now. Hello everyone, this is episode 543. It's the week of December 6th, 2024, and welcome. For anyone new here, this is the official podcast of StoneAgeGamer.com. Dan and I talk every week about what's happening in the world of video games from a retro gamer's perspective. Oh man, I tried to get through it without burping. But I failed. Anyway, I was talking fast like,
fine.
It's coming. I just ate dinner right before getting on the show. Anyway, what's happening in the world of video games from retro gamers' perspective, as well as whatever the hell else is going on in our lives. And speaking of which, Dan, how was your Thanksgiving? How are you?
Oh, man. I'm all right. This is a tough week this week. This is, as we were talking before the show, this is the first week where I've really felt sick from my chemo treatment. Not that I felt great the last 7 treatments before this one. But this time, like, it really hit me of like, oh, okay, like when we said that this was going to get progressively worse over time and you are going to feel really bad by the end of it, this is the start of like what that I think meant. I don't know. I haven't gone through the last 4 treatments yet. Maybe it's going to get that much measurably worse. I have no idea. I slept all day Sunday. I mean, I think I slept for 20 out of the 24 hours of Sunday. I was awake long enough to watch a little bit of football and then pass back out. And then I slept most of Monday as well. Because I couldn't fucking get out of bed. Like, I just couldn't get out of bed. Not for lack of motivation. I just didn't have the energy. I didn't have the strength. I barely ate anything. I just felt awful. Just awful. Tuesday started to feel a little less awful, but this really fun thing has been happening this week, and this is apparently a side effect of chemo that I haven't experienced yet. I can't always swallow, so that's cool. So it's not when I'm drinking or eating necessarily, like I'm not in danger of choking, but you know, it's like you're just going through your day and you're like, I have to swallow now. That doesn't necessarily work for me. I have to like give it a couple of shots to actually fucking swallow. Which is like super unsettling and weird because it feels like I'm about to start choking. Even though I'm definitely not, like there's nothing there to choke on. But yeah, it has been a really interesting, awful week that has just culminated in me feeling just really out of it on Thanksgiving. Because I love Thanksgiving. I love having everybody over to the house. I love all the bullshit that goes into it. You know, I love coming home from work on Wednesday and being like, all right, I got to fucking speed clean everything because people are coming tomorrow. And if they come to this house, they're going to make me like, I don't know, they're going to send me to my room because it looks like shit. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like family's coming over and I'm going to get in trouble for how my house looks.
I know what you mean. I busted my ass cleaning my house too. And
I love it. You know, I really do. I love having the whole family over. I love doing the whole thing. And we didn't do that yesterday because I just couldn't. You know, it's not a great idea to have a bunch of strangers. Not that they're strangers, but, you know, people that aren't in my house all the time. It's not a great idea for them to be in my house in close proximity for hours and hours, just because of where my immune system is at. And I just didn't feel up to it, so I got up, I think on Thanksgiving morning, I think I was up at 4:30, 5 o'clock. I didn't send a message to the Discord. I did get to be the first one to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody, but I didn't send it till like 6. I was already up for like an hour and a half at that point. Just sitting there, like I watched the parade by myself because my kids were still asleep and Tiff was still asleep because she didn't have to get up and cook this year, because we did like a swapsies thing with my family, and like that was nice and all, but I was just kind of sad and bummed out, through the day, and I'm finding it difficult to get into the holiday spirit, as it were, because usually by this point on Black Friday, I would have been out to get my Bourbon County first thing in the morning. Didn't do that. Would have been over to my aunt's house to put up her lights, which obviously I didn't do. And then like my tree would have been up and the house would have been decorated and all that stuff. And I don't know when we're going to do that because I'm being a fucking pissy pants bummer about it. But it's just, it's just kind of where I'm at right now. So I'm going to try to take this week as like, okay, this is what this felt like. Let's kind of like push forward through that and not kind of do that again, throughout the rest of the holiday season. Because I only have 4 more treatments left. Like January 17th is the last treatment, and knock on wood, everything is clear after that, and I start to feel better, right? It's still going to take some time after that final treatment to feel like myself again. I probably won't feel like myself again until until the summer, just because my body has to recover and all of that shit. But I won't be continuing to poison it, so I will start to, I think, be able to get back into the swing of things. So it's been a weird week. It's just been weird.
Yeah, it's been a weird week, all right. This week was just me going nuts over the Black Friday sale. Basically, my week was, prep for Thanksgiving, make sure I've got the plans in place. And what exactly I'm going to clean in the house, make a big list of everything that needs to be done, and then just prepping for Black Friday, which has been a lot. It's been this is a pretty aggressive sale, I think, and this is the first one that I've really been a part of the planning for, which was really fun.
Right.
And it seems to be going pretty well. I've been dealing with a lot of customer requests. We're finally putting some like used system bundles up, which is making me really happy. Like, it's just nice to see us selling off some of those old consoles that we have at the store. That makes me very happy.
No reason for them to just sit there.
Yeah, it's just good to be moving product, and I can't tell what the numbers are because I can only see like what numbers based on the actual newsletter. Like, I can't see how much our profits are or anything like that, but sure, it does seem like things are selling out. Like, we're moved a bunch of the Morph. We had a huge discount on Fenrir's, just a massive discount on those. We sold a ton of them so far. So yeah, that's been going well. That is today is Black Friday. I didn't go out shopping. Turns out I didn't need to. I was able to find nothing that either of our kids wanted was on sale for Black Friday. Like, the one Lego set that John wants is the one Lego set that's not on any sale anywhere. It's new Ender Dragon one, and it's like, it's on the list to every site, but it's like, yeah, it's right there, full price. That's what it is. Yeah. However, Target did have there was a specific Pokemon card box that John really wanted. And Target had that one on a pretty solid sale the other day. And was it last night? I wound up getting a copy of Splatoon 3 for $20 through Staples.
Why not?
Like, I occasionally get notifications on like Blue Sky, and I'll click on it, and it was like oh, this was a new post from Wario64, right? If you're ever going to open up your social media, it's to check on what's going on with Wario64, because that dude posts the deals. And it was some sort of deal. You could also get a Switch Pro controller for like $30 off. I was like, that sounds pretty goddamn good. No, it was $30 actually. It was like a ridiculously good deal.
Oh, that's not bad.
But you had to do it through Grubhub, and I don't have that.
Like you had to have it delivered?
You had to go through Grubhub through Staples. It's the strangest thing. Okay. So I hit the wall with that. I was like, you know what? I don't need a Pro controller badly enough to figure this out. But I was able to just order Splatoon 3 for $20. So that was a big fat win right there.
That's not bad. Yeah.
I do have theoretically, Karen's Christmas present should be showing up in the mail today, but our mailman's been coming later and like sometimes just skipping us entirely and coming back tomorrow, which is a real dick move. According to Amazon,
that is a dick move.
It is still theoretically arriving today by 9 p.m. I'll fucking believe that when I see it. But like, there will just be days we just don't get mail,
right?
That never used to be that way.
I mean that happens.
Our previous mail person would start at our house. Our previous mail carrier would start right in our place and then go around. This guy parks at our house and then just goes for a walk and hits us last. I don't approve.
What a dick.
I do not care for it.
Feels intentional.
Sam I am. It does. It feels like he's out to get me. Son of a whore. But yeah. It's,
what are we waiting for?
Oh, I got her. Make sure she's not an earshot anywhere. You never know. Sometimes she comes downstairs and gets a drink, and they're having dinner upstairs right now. I got her an Apple Watch. I found
nice,
just an absurdly good deal on it. It's much newer than mine. I don't remember exactly which model it is, but Amazon had them on a really good sale, like $150 off or something. Like, it was a pretty solid deal. And I wound up talking to one of her friends just to kind of clear it as like, here's what I think, why I think this is a good idea. Do you agree? And she wholeheartedly agreed. So I feel pretty confident that I'm on the right track there. So I got her that. I ordered her something off of she made a wish list, non-Amazon wish list. I bought her this necklace that said, like, fuck the patriarch or something like that, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
I think that should just about cover her. I'm probably going to get her like one or two other small things to put in her stocking, but that's about it. And I think that's kind of where we're at. That kind of catches me up. And besides Thanksgiving just being a blast, Dean did come. He showed up. He and Larissa and his two dogs came, and everybody got along. Larissa's a very interesting cat. I like her. We had a lot. She was great with my kids. Like, her and Ellie hit it off immediately, which was great.
That's great.
I did the crazy potatoes plan that I was doing, and dinner was late because of me. I didn't realize how long those potatoes needed to cook, and I still think they could have stood to be in the oven a little bit longer, but holy shit were they tasty. I nailed those mashed potatoes. Nice. Like, the mashed potato part was so goddamn good, I almost just skipped it entirely and said, fuck it, I'm not even doing the top part, let's just serve the mashed potatoes. Because it was, a bunch of potatoes, solid stick of butter, cup and a half of shredded white cheddar cheese, and two entire bulbs of roasted garlic.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty serious.
Yeah, see, I could be into that. I don't really like mashed potatoes. I don't know why. I like potatoes. I like French fries. I like potato chips. I just, you put mashed potatoes in front of me, and I'm like, ugh.
Nah,
Get the
not
fuck
me.
away. I don't know why.
Mashed potatoes. Now, I also did the dinner rolls, and they came out great. That. I was very proud of the dinner rolls. They all got eaten. I tried to save one last night. I don't know what happened to it. I said, this one's mine. All right, I got one dinner roll at dinner, and my niece ate like 5 of them, and the kids ate a bunch of other ones, and like everybody was liking the dinner rolls. They were a big hit. That was fantastic. I love when things I make are a hit. And then there was the gravy. The gravy was the part that I remember we talked about this. The gravy was the part that I was the most nervous about. Fucking nailed it. Nailed the gravy. It was so goddamn good. Oh, and it was Karen even said, yeah, this is definitely more like traditional gravy than my purple gravy. And I'm like, goddamn right it is. It was brown gravy.
Goddamn right.
I was making it, and she came up behind me and turned down the heat because she thought I had the heat on too high. And it's like, no, it needs to be that high. It says right here in the recipe in the America's Test Kitchen that the brown from the brown gravy comes from browning the vegetables. Like, you have to get them. You're going to think that they're too brown. You're going to think you're burning them, but you're not. As long as you're moving everything around the way it says in the recipe, you want them to be super brown because that's what's going to make the gravy brown. And oh my God, it was great. The problem was, I don't think there was enough of it. We barely had enough to go around. Next year, because I was going pretty loud on the gravy because, there was only one gravy boat worth of gravy. So next year, I'm doubling that recipe because there needs to be more of that gravy. Karen knocked it out of the park with stuffing, as always. No, go ahead.
That is a bold move, though, to come up to somebody's oven and be like, I'm just going to turn this down. Like, if I did that to Tiff, we might get divorced.
Yeah, she 9 times out of 10, she knows what she's doing. And, like, dude, I've made that mistake plenty of times. I'll, like, cook and bacon, like, it's getting all smoky, and she just comes up and turns it down. Like, she knows what she's doing most of the time. But I was like, no, I got this one. I've trained for this. I've trained in the hyperbolic time chamber. I went up into space with the 10 times Earth's normal gravity, cooking gravy, just preparing for this day. I did it. I was so proud of myself.
Better than being like in Pulp Fiction. John, tell that bitch be cool. It could be like Fonzie. What was Fonzie? He was cool, and that's what where could it be? Sit down, Yolanda, or whatever the fuck her name is. Anyway,
it's been too long since I've seen that. But all in all, it's been a good week. It's been stressful. Didn't sleep super well. I went to the gym and used the elliptical, which is a machine that I believe is personally out to get me.
It's out to make you look like an asshole and to hurt you.
I was just, I didn't know how to use it properly. I got on there, and then like this old lady came up next to me and started using the elliptical like 2 machines down and doing it twice as fast. I was like, well, fuck. So I tried doing it faster, and I couldn't make it go any faster. And I was talking to my friend, and she was like, you probably had the resistance up too high. And I'm like, I don't know what the buttons do. There's like, I swear to God, there's half the machines in there look like the Steel Battalion controller. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here. There's like 300 buttons and levers. I
don't fucking need all these buttons. I just need a little wheel where I can increase or decrease the resistance. I'm fucking good.
I was the exercise bike that I did was that last week? So I went 2 days in a row, and I shouldn't have gone 2 days in a row.
No,
that was the thing.
Every other.
But the idea was that I was going to go twice a week, but Thursday was off limits because I'm not going to the gym on Thanksgiving morning. So my friends convinced me, just do Tuesday and Wednesday, it'll be fine. And it was not fine because I finished the elliptical and then I had like time left, so I didn't know what else to do because I'm still terrified of all the rest of the machines because, again, they look like the Steel Battalion controller. So I just went on the treadmill and jogged for a little bit, and that's when my knee started to hurt me. Like, well, you went to the gym 2 days in a row, you worked really hard, and then you just did the elliptical, and then you decided to run, and now your knee hurts. See, you overdid it. You're a jackass. I mean, he's fine now. Like, usually it would hurt for like a couple of days afterwards. My knee is just fine today. But I just really, really overdid it those 2 days with the exercise and the stress of work and the stress of Thanksgiving, and I didn't really have any downtime today. Like, I got up and I've just been closing tickets for work all day. Right, because it's Black Friday. We're doing a ton of sales, and I'm trying to stay on top of this stuff and also stay on top of the house, make sure we're cleaned up after Thanksgiving. Tomorrow we're going to do Christmas. Tomorrow we're Christmasifying the house. I would have loved to do it today, but it wasn't in the cards. I had too much work to do. Yeah. And, John went over and hung out with my sister, and he beat Astrobot, so he was really proud of himself for that. And then Karen and Ellie went to go see Wicked, which Ellie thought was great, and so did Karen. So, there was a lot going on today. But tomorrow, I'm ready. I'm going to go up into the attic. Hopefully I can get a good night's sleep tonight so that I can go up into the attic and get all the Christmas stuff down. And we're going to go get our Christmas tree. And I'm going to call Sean, and he's going to help put Christmas lights on the second row of the house, and which means I need to go get more of those little like gutter clip things for the lights. But that's the plan.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get out and do lights. I mean, I'm sure I will at some point. I just don't know when. You know? I'm going to have the kids, I think, try and help me. They got everything. We got everything out of the attic today. Nice. With the intention of getting the tree up and all the shit. But now it's just in the living room. So maybe that's what we'll
put
do.
Away all the things.
We'll just put the presents. We'll put all the presents around the big box that the tree is in and the Tupperware that the ornaments are in. We'll put that on top of the Christmas tree box. That'll be nice.
There you go.
That'll be great.
Sounds like a
be
plan
fucking
to me.
festive as shit. Oh man. Yeah. Did you play anything this week? I barely did.
Not much. Including Ranger X, but not for lack of trying. We'll get to that.
Yeah. That is what I spent the bulk of my time on this week. Because holy shit. I kept going back like, oh, God, what am I doing wrong? Like, but we'll talk. We'll get there.
We'll get there. I believe I'm allergic to that game. Let's see. What did I play this week? More Ode to Castlevania. It was my mission to try and get myself as done with Ode to Castlevania as possible so I could write my review, and I give up. I mean, I'm going to keep playing it, obviously, but I need to, like, my deadline's coming up, so I felt confident that I had done enough to properly write my review, so I did that today. It just continues to be an absolute joy and utterly surprising at every turn, just like how much completely bug nuts it gets. Like every time I think
it really is insane.
I've found the depths of the crazy that is that DLC, and it just finds new and exciting ways to be even crazier and weirder. So absolutely love that. I did start the Plucky Squire. I can't remember if we talked about that last week.
No.
Judging by your reaction, I didn't, because I couldn't remember which day I started Plucky Squire. But I did. I put about an hour and change into it so far. It is brilliant in every way, except that it doesn't feel very good to play.
Oh, that sucks.
Everything about it is great, except the actual gameplay. Like, Jot just does not feel very good to move around. He doesn't feel the combat doesn't feel fun.
Right.
But it's super clever. It's super charming. It looks great. It doesn't run super great on Switch, which I had heard about that, and that doesn't surprise me. It is a really poorly optimized game. Like, this game needed somebody else with a different set of talents. I don't know what that person is, but like, we were talking about how big the freaking game download was. This game was enormous for a Switch game, and it's not that big of a game. It's just, it's not optimized for this system, and the frame rate is really, really unstable. The whole that whole bit of it, it's not that bad. It's not like it doesn't really ruin the experience. It's very noticeable where you can see like, this is definitely not a game you play on this system. This is a game you should play on other systems, which is unfortunate because it is so clearly designed for the Switch audience. Like, that is exactly where this game's audience is. And it shouldn't need to be on something more powerful than the Switch. Like, there's nothing, the visuals are wondrous. Like, it's a really, really good looking game, but it's not doing anything that's like really crazy, you know? It's not doing anything that's so utterly difficult that the Switch can't handle.
It's not Horizon.
Like, it's not. You know, we've all played and seen games on Switch that look incredible, like, and they're doing more stuff than this. It's just not. It doesn't seem to be very well optimized for the system.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, it is a bummer. But I'm really, really interested in seeing where it goes. Like I said, I haven't put a ton of time into it. I aim to finish it in order to review it, because it's my understanding the game's not super long. And there's some really, really good ideas in there. There's a bunch of points so far that I've been playing it and thinking to myself, damn, that's clever. That's really clever.
Yeah.
But I'm not having as much fun as I should. Like, there's so many parts where I stop and think, that's really clever. But then the actual act of doing things like you'll get to these spots in the book where there's words written on the book, and you need to go to other areas. Like the words aren't right. Like there's a giant, what the heck was that animal? There was some sort of like giant frog or something in the way, and so I had to go around to other areas in the book to find other words to replace the word giant with. So like there was a flat frog
clever.
in the way, right? So I get that word and bring it over there, and now the flat frog turns flat. Or like you can change the entire setting. I'll be like, this was a dense forest that you couldn't get through, or you change forest into ruins, and then the forest turns into ruins, and you can just walk through between the ruins instead of the trees being all dense or something. You know, like really clever stuff, really cool.
That's super
creative,
cool,
clever stuff. It's just that the actual gameplay itself doesn't feel good, and it's a huge bummer because this game has almost everything going for it, and I really want to see what this studio does next, because there's just an astounding amount of talent that went into this game. It just needed somebody whose expertise was making, you know, that giving the game that certain something that makes the gameplay feel good, like to really focus on the game feel, and somebody to optimize it, honestly. Because I'm very curious how well this runs on other platforms, because on one hand, like, this could just be like, this was designed to run on something with X amount of power, and we just tried to scale it down and it didn't work. Or is this just like, does it run at a solid 60 on PS4 or PS5? Or is it just like, this is poorly optimized all around? I don't know. But I think this is the studio's first game. I might be wrong.
I think so.
I can't look it up right now. I'm in the middle of gambling. But it was an experience so far, and I'm looking forward to more of it. I just I'm glad I didn't go whole hog and pre-ordering a physical copy and stuff, because it's good, not great.
I mean, there are worse things to be than good, not great.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not a bad game.
You know,
it's not a bad game. It's just not living up to its potential. That's the best that I'll say so far. Again, I'm not super far into it. It could get a lot better. It's just not quite there yet. And the other thing that I played this week was Mario Party Jamboree.
Woohoo! You know how much I love that shit.
I know how much you love Mario Party.
So right up my alley.
Just half stocked right now just thinking about it, I'm sure. No, it's really good. It's me, Karen, John, and Ellie played a game over the course of a couple of nights. The mini games are great. It's really well put together. There's only 2 characters to unlock, right? Because all the other characters are unlocked straight out of the gate. There's a ton of different characters in this one, more than any other Mario Party game. And the way you unlock the characters is by literally finding them. The menu screen, like the menu sequence where you choose like what kind of game mode you're going to go into, is on this hot air balloon, and you have these binoculars that you can look through. And you just look around, and you find the characters like standing around. If you find them on the binoculars, like, hey, it's Pauline. She wants to join the Mario Party. Cool, you did. I don't have to play anything.
Outstanding.
You just have to look and find them. You do have to unlock a couple of the game boards, and that was what I really wanted, was the specifically the Mario's Rainbow Castle from the first Mario Party, because I have just this extraordinary nostalgic connection to that stage, because I was never a huge Mario Party fan before I had kids. The one time that I did play Mario Party was with an old friend of mine named Julie, who recently passed away. And it was this one time that I had gone over to her apartment. I think we were still living down here. I can't even remember exactly when it was, but she plugged in the first Mario Party with like 2 other friends that I didn't know. And we had just this absolute blast. And the music in that stage is gorgeous. It's this wonderful, wonderful piece of music that just it's the Nintendo 64's very specific MIDI sound quality that just pulls at my heartstrings. And very few games really have it, because there's a lot of N64 games that I think sound like trash. This is not one of them. This is like Mario 64 type music that's just like, it's so lovely. I don't really know what other word to say besides lovely. You son of a whore! I got stuck in free spins right when it went off. It's okay. This is a tiny one. It was only $3. It's fine. It's not the big one. Yeah, it's nothing.
You throw $3. You got $3 of change floating around in the car.
It's fine. I mean, I just won 80 cents on the free spins so far, so it's not so bad. But yes, this new game,
almost halfway there.
Yeah, no big deal. This game has that stage unlockable in it, and I'm really curious what the new version of this song sounds like. But I haven't looked it up online yet because I really just wanted to do it in the game. I just wanted to experience in the game. So
yeah,
you have to play a bunch of stuff in order to get to that, and I have not done that yet. Oh, look at that. On one of my other devices, I just won $2. So there, I just made up for it. I won 80 cents on free spins and $2 there. So boom. I'm fine.
There you go. Done.
We're all good. Yeah. Now I gotta wait another 19 minutes for the other. Actually, I'm not even going to wait the 19 minutes. Usually this is when I already start spinning. So I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep riding.
Do it.
Fucking storm. Yeah.
Do it. Let it ride.
So the thing with Mario Party is you've never been able to play as Bowser before, because Bowser is like, he's a constant on the stage, and when you play Mario Party, he's like the antagonist on the stages, and he like steals your stars and shit. So they just made like this evil Bowser doppelganger so you can play as Bowser, which is rather silly, but it doesn't ultimately matter because it's fucking Mario Party. So John was thrilled to be Bowser, but what's super silly about it is that this is Mario Party, and the Mario characters do really odd things during Mario Party minigames. So seeing things like Bowser riding Yoshi is really unsettling.
Yeah, that's weird. That's creepy.
It's really
I don't like
strange. But it's, oh my god. I
would
played
it be
as
better
Shy Guy.
if Yoshi was riding Bowser?
Yes, it
or would that be worse?
I think it would be better because at least the sizes would line up, because Bowser's fucking huge. It just looks, it's even weirder than like Elephant Mario riding on the Yoshi in Mario Wonder. Like, it was super strange. And Mike Sheridan will appreciate this very much. So one of the new characters that you can play as is Shy Guy. And Shy Guy, his voiceover is so great. I love the voice that they've given Shy Guy, which is basically him just going like, it's this super goofy sound that I absolutely love, and he does not shut up during Mario Party. It's like you can make him make so many noises, and it is hysterical. Every single time it was my turn, we were all laughing our asses off because he'd be like, I'm like, yes, this is the best game ever. Fucking Shy Guy making goofy ass noises.
Gotta be honest, you're not selling it.
No, you would hate
Not
this
to me,
game.
anyway.
You would hate it. John won after being a fucking sourpuss the whole time. He's always such a sourpuss when he plays Mario Party. It's just like, oh, I'm never going to win. I'm lose everything. And he fucking won in the end because it's Mario Party. And we keep trying to tell the kids that, like, it doesn't matter. You could be like 3,000 stars behind, somebody lands on chance time, then all of a sudden, boom, the whole game has changed. This is not a game of skill.
No, it is not. It is a game of bullshit.
Exactly. It is exclusively
of the highest
bullshit.
order.
So just stop it. Just have fun. That's the point. Have fun. And Ellie was having fun. She was handling it a lot better than she usually does in the whole fun department of like not getting super bent out of shape when she loses mini games. But yeah, it's quite well put together. It's easy to pick up. The camera's a bit more dynamic, which is kind of cool. Like it kind of follows your characters around when they're running on the map instead of being top down, which is kind of neat looking. I'm trying to think of what was some new item that we encountered, and I can't remember what it does now, but it was friggin' weird. John was thrilled about it. But yeah, it was a whole bunch of bullshit as far as like, you know, people trading stars back and forth, and Ellie was so close. Oh my god. It was the last turn of the game. She needed to get a 7 to get another star on her last turn of the game, and she rolled a 6. Son of a bitch. That was so unfortunate. But yeah, it was really fun. I was very pleased with it.
Well, I'm glad. I mean, it's never going to happen in my house. Never.
God, no.
But
no. and once the kids are older, it's probably never going to happen around here either. Like, this is a 4-player... This is a very specific, you know, all 4 of us play together in this house at this time, in this time of our lives kind of a situation. And yeah, Karen and I don't think we did it this week. I can't remember if it was this week or last week, but we are still We've kind of sort of gotten back into semi-regular clubhouse games tournaments with one another. So it usually winds up on Yacht Dice, which is that game's, not quite legal Yahtzee.
Yeah, it's didn't really bury the lead there on that one, guys.
Legally distinct Yahtzee.
Why not just go with that?
Yeah, I mean, some of the scoring is like vaguely different, but it's Yahtzee. It's Yahtzee, and it's Yahtzee you don't have to clean up after, which is lovely.
Which is nice. Yeah,
not that Yahtzee takes like a whole lot of cleanup, but it's super convenient. There's math that takes care of all that for you, and the dice make noise, especially when there's children in the house and they want to roll dice really loud in a cup, and good times.
Ends up on the floor and the dog eats it, and been there.
Yep.
No, don't eat it, fuck. Get the dog. No, that hasn't happened to you yet?
Our dogs aren't really into eating objects off the ground. Although one of Dean's dogs is really into shoes. He kept trying to get away with Karen's slippers yesterday.
Nice.
Really, the only negative thing I have to say about yesterday, I think I said it to you before the show. I've already lost all sense of time and space. Is my sister freaking talking through National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation?
Yeah, that's just rude.
It's just rude. Every single joke, right before the joke would happen on screen, she'd be saying it. Come on, stop it.
Say it to yourself. That's fine.
Yeah. Say it to yourself.
Whisper it under your breath.
You can even occasionally say it along, say it along. It's a movie we've all seen, except Dean's wife Larissa had not seen it. So knowing full well, which we had said beforehand, that somebody here has never seen this before, let's just let the movie happen. Come on, Cousin Eddie.
Yeah, you got to shut the fuck up. Sorry, it's just one of those things. Don't talk during the movie. Just don't.
But
we did.
Okay.
We did continue our tradition of watching horror movies on Thanksgiving. For whatever reason, we started doing that forever ago. And we watched this movie Abigail, which it's fucking nuts. I don't want to spoil, talking about the movie at all would spoil it. So I would just say, if you have an hour and a half, and you're looking for something to watch, and you like fucking just bananas ass horror movies, and it's not even really a very scary horror movie, it's just kind of bloody and gory, check out Abigail. It was fucking insane. Just the entire time we're watching it last night, Tiff and I are going, what the fuck is happening? This is batshit crazy. It's got the dude who played Legion on the FX show.
Okay, yeah.
That he's pretty good. And the girl who plays Stature, Cassie, she's in it too.
Okay.
And then Giancarlo Esposito for 5 minutes.
Hey man, I'll take him in pretty much whatever sandwich he's willing to serve.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was great.
You might actually know this movie because you know all kinds of weird ass movies.
I do.
So it was Paul's pick for the next episode of Theater Near You. I have to find the title again because this is a movie I've never heard of in my entire life. I think it's relatively recent. Where is my script? The movie for the letter O is Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls.
Heard of it, haven't seen it.
Okay. It's gonna be a weird one.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of excited about it, but yeah, it's gonna be a weird one.
Yeah, have not seen it, but I have heard things.
Evan, if you're listening, while editing this, please, we need to get Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls for a theater near you on the Plex, because I don't even know where to begin to find that one.
No.
My vote was for Octopussy, because I don't think I've ever seen that one. And
really?
I have a lot of classic Bond films I hadn't seen. I've seen most of the modern ones, like from GoldenEye forward. but a lot of the older ones I haven't seen, and I'm pretty sure I'd never seen Octopussy. And Sean's pick was Once Upon a Time in America, which I'm sure is a very good movie, but I just wasn't really interested in a drama. Movie. You know, I just wasn't really feeling the serious drama thing. You know, I got enough of that in my life right now, so I wanted to go with
such a good movie, though.
More fun. And the only other option was Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls.
So there you have it. I can
almost guarantee Karen's going to hate that one, but yeah. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good time. Well, it popped. It went for $36.88. So
that's not bad.
Yeah, it's like $130, $140, something like that. I'm bad at math.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, burn through some of that, but I can do that. As time passes on the show, I no longer have to pay attention to it. So, yay. I don't have to do it on this one, because this one's still not counting bonus money, so that's great. But I'll have to do it on two. Anyways, I think that was everything for me. Yeah, Ode to Castlevania, Black Friday Prep, Mario Party Jamboree. I really don't think I played anything else other than, Brain Age and Volcano, but the usual background stuff.
Yeah.
I wonder if I'm forgetting something. I'm going to check my Switch parental controls app and see if there's anything on here that jumps out at me. Because I know I was just super busy this week. Karen's been playing Donut County again. That's cool.
That's such a good game.
It's such a good game. I've been meaning to play it again. Ever since I got the soundtrack on vinyl, I've been meaning to hit that again. I did play a little bit more Hatch Tales. It's still aggressively mediocre. Oh, Donkey Kong Land! Donkey Kong Land came to the Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah.
Dude, this has been a weird couple of weeks for NSO. Donkey Kong Land hit, then 4
days
later, Land 2 hit, and then they updated the Genesis app for the first time in like a year.
I know that. Oh yeah, by the way, we have this. Let's put Vector Man on there. Vector Man's a bananas ass game.
I have never been able to figure out how to do anything in that game, and I mean, I don't see myself really
I feel like
trying.
That's maybe a Genesis thing. Because, again, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, we will. We'll talk about that in a bit. I've always liked the way Vector Man looked, but my God, I have never been able to just make any kind of progress in the game, because everything I do just doesn't seem to do anything of value. So let's see. Oh my God, it was more than a year. So on June 27th, 2023... we got Crusader of Senti, Ghouls and Ghosts, Landstalker, and Revenge of Shinobi. It's a badass update. And then November 28th, 2024. So that's more than a year later. We get Mercs, Toe Jam and Earl Panic on Funkatron, and Vector Man. What? That's so weird. Like, why was there this huge gap?
They just forget.
There's a freaking shortage of Genesis games. Like, there's a ton of Genesis games that should be on there, and just aren't. But now I want to look online and see if Donkey Kong Land 3 dropped yet, because it's coming.
It really should. It's going to take another year, but
1 and 2 were like a few days apart. Like, what's going on?
Yeah. And why not do them on the same day? It's very Nintendo.
Yeah, seriously. If you're just going to drop Donkey Kong
do
Land
the thing.
games,
just do it.
Thing. Drop the trilogy. Yeah, nothing yet.
Very odd.
Yeah, 2 days ago was Genesis. 3 days ago was Donkey Kong Land 2. 7 days ago was Donkey Kong Land. I love Donkey Kong Land. It's not great.
No.
It's not great, but it is.
But it's just so hard to fucking see.
It's definitely easier to see on the Switch with the Game Boy Pocket screen, and it's a big screen, but it's still it suffers from screen cramping. This is one of those games that's like, it should absolutely not exist. Like, trying to squeeze Donkey Kong Country style gameplay onto the original Game Boy was just a bonkers idea. And the fact that
you could have gone with Banana's idea, but
I was going to, but it seemed a little too on the nose. But the fact that they pulled it off, it's got great music, and the first one in particular, I'm a huge fan of, because it's got the fact that it is shit is the story.
Right.
It's one of the best freaking game stories ever. Cranky Kong's just like, you wouldn't last 2 minutes in an 8-bit game, and Donkey Kong's like, fuck you, we'll do an 8-bit game in our sleep. And Cranky's like, fine. Gets on, like, seriously, the instruction manual says he gets on the phone with King K. Rool and says, steal the bananas again, motherfucker. We're doing the shit on the Game Boy.
We're doing it retro. You fuck.
And like,
let's
and
go.
This one's like the 2 and 3 are like kind of they follow a lot of the same structure as like 2 and 3 on Super Nintendo, but Land is a follow up. Like you start the game on K. Rool's ship, and then you go to all these new locations like that aren't in country at all. It's such an interesting game, and I know it's like it's got all kinds of faults, but it's full of heart. The music is just wonderful. And once you get the hang of the way it plays and how different it is from country, specifically in the physics department, it's a good time. I think it's really well worth playing.
Yeah, I agree. I actually do like those games, probably more than I should, because of all their problems, right? Because yeah, they are difficult to get through, but I have not revisited them in decades at this point. I might go back. I don't know. I say I might. I'm probably not
for
going
just
to.
A few minutes, right? It's a free. You already have NSO. It's not even the expansion pack. Yeah, it's just play it for a few minutes. What is it? Nintendo UK put out its really fun YouTube video of like Donkey Kong Country games on the Switch, similar to that. Remember that Metroid History one that was like, it showed Samus running around, like it had the animations and stuff in it. They did that for Donkey Kong Country, so like it goes from 1 to 2 to 3 to Tropical Freeze, and then to Returns HD, which is coming out in January. Skipped over Land, obviously, because they're not part of the quote-unquote country series. They don't say the word country in them. But it was a neat little trailer. It's like 2 minutes and 59 seconds long. Worth a watch.
That's cool.
If you're a whore. So yeah, what about you? Anything else?
Whoa, Jesus. I mean, other than the standard like pad and snapping and that sort of shit. According to my Steam Deck, I've put 48 hours into Pacific Drive, which nice. I don't fucking think is accurate. But in order to get out of the areas that you travel to in Pacific Drive, you have to power up this thing in your car. And it's basically just an excuse to make you go collect these fucking things around the map so that you can power up your car and you can get out of the zone that you're in and back to the workshop so that you can repair your car and shit. And okay, fine, sure. So the first time I'm going around and doing that, because I'm driving around and I'm raiding all these places and I'm going in and gathering materials and like, ooh, there's medicine in here and ooh, there's canned food in here and what the fuck is this? I don't know. I'm just gonna chop it up with my fucking buzzsaw that I have and I'm gonna take it with me. And you're collecting all these parts and like, oh, this will be, I'm starting to see like where these things will kind of fit together. And then I go to get the thing to get out of the zone, and I park the car a little bit away from it, and it's weird. Like when you go, you have to stop the car and put the car in park and then get out of the car. Like you have to physically do all that shit in the game. So I put the car in park, turn the car off, get out, walk over to the thing, and as I'm getting you have to dismantle this apparatus to get the energy thing that you need to power up your charger in your car. The fucking ground explodes and throws my car like 20 fucking feet away from me and upside down, and I fucking screamed out loud, and everybody in the house is like, what's wrong? I was like, the fucking game threw my car. I'm so fucking sad, because like you really do get attached to this car, and it punched my car through the air and fucking really bummed me out. My tire was all fucked up, and I had to drive back out of the woods with like my door flopping open and a flat tire, and I was all bummed. It's like, why do I care about this fucking station wagon so much? This is weird. Thankfully, the steroids that I'm on are jacking up my estrogen way out of proportion. So I'm fucking super emotional at the moment. So I'm like borderline in tears about my fucking car as I'm driving around. I'm like, it's okay. We'll get back to the shop and I'll fix you up. And then that's like been the focus of the week. Apart from fucking Ode to Castlevania and the other shit. But just this game continues to be just a wild-ass ride. And I'm really digging it. I do think I would enjoy it more on on the PS5. Mostly because I just have to jack the settings down on the Steam Deck because it is just it's an insane game, and the Steam Deck is really, really wonderful at most of the things that you throw at it, but like PC gaming, sometimes you got to adjust settings, right? So for this one in particular, this is the one game that I've played where I have to dial things back a little bit, and I'm not even talking about like putting it up on the TV, but just like on the deck itself to get it to run at like a stable frame rate and whatnot. Everything else I've thrown at it has been fucking awesome. Like nothing needed apart from putting it up on the TV. This one though, it's like, oh, this is why I'm not necessarily a PC gamer, because I start looking at the settings like, oh, I don't know what any of this means. The fuck is FSR? I don't fucking know. Like, okay, I'll click shit until it works better. But yeah, Pacific Drive, fucking weird ass game, really cool though. You would hate it.
I probably would. I'll be playing Mario Party.
Yeah, you would hate every second of this game. Be like, why the fuck do I need a road flare and some electrical wire? How does that make a battery jumper? I don't know. Fuck. This is weird. Why am I crafting shit? Yeah. Anyway, that's it.
All right. Well, I guess with that in tow, it's time for us to take our first break. When we come back, we'll talk about what's new at Stone Age Gamer and what's going on in Week Old News. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from geekade.com. Stick around. And now here's a quick look at what's new in the gratuitous rainbow spectrum at StoneAgeGamer.com.
First up, in an all-new PlayStation report, Kris takes on the letter D, chuckle, to do a deep dive into the depths of Sony's D properties to check in and see how they're doing. Whatever happened to Dark Cloud, the game everyone thought was Zelda for PlayStation 2, thanks to some seemingly intentionally misleading box art? Who the heck is that white cat that shows up in a bunch of PlayStation stuff? Will we ever get a new Downhill Domination? We fucking should, man. Find out in the PlayStation report. Dragons, derbies, and dreams.
Next, Super Mario Bros. Has been ported to a whole lot of platforms over the years, but only one of them made the game Deluxe. Excuse me. Super Mario Bros. Deluxe was quite a special little game, but the limitations of the Game Boy Color held it back from reaching its full potential. With modern technology on our side and several fantastic newer games to pull inspiration from, just how cool would a new Super Mario Bros. Deluxe be? Not new Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. A new Super Mario Bros.
New Super Mario Bros.
Deluxe
and
Deluxe. Read my ramblings about it in Let's Make Super Mario Bros. Deluxe Deluxe.
It's a good title. I like that. Finally, Kris, did you ever make 7-Up yours?
No.
I mean, fuck, dude, I sure did. Especially during the 90s. You know what else I did?
Coke?
In the 90s? So much. Jesus. Just... Do you want to build a snowman? Yes.
Hans, Bubby, I'm your white knight.
Oh, man. No, actually never did. Shockingly enough. That's way too much of a pussy for that. What I did do, though, Kris, instead of cocaine, was play Cool Spot for Super NES and Sega Genesis, because like the adorable mascot, I am also very cool. But for as cool as Spot was, and is, arguably, how could a multi-platform platformer based on a soda mascot actually be any good? Find out in Stone Age Game Review, Cool Spot. Not Pepsi Man, because that one's not good.
Different game. For all this and more, be sure to check out the
Same
gratuitous
thing.
Rainbow Spectrum under the blog section every Wednesday at StoneAgeGamer.com. All right, everybody, we are back. Now, but as we were on the break, I burped the word burp. And Dan thought that was odd. Because it is. But I trained myself to do this. It's instinctual now. When I was a kid, my dad would always burp the word belch. And I always thought it was hysterical. And so as I got older, I decided that I needed to do the same thing, except I was going to go with the word burp, so that not like just completely rip my dad off. Although belch is it's a funnier word than burp, I think. Maybe I'll train myself to say belch instead of burp.
Yeah. I don't know. I like them both.
I like them both, too. I'm pretty happy with it. But yes, that's the thing that I do, and my kids look at me weird when I do it, which is part of why I do it, because you're not making your kids look at you weird. Ooh, you'll like this one. What do you call a cereal that's almost exactly the same as Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
Synonym Toast Crunch?
Yes, Synonym Toast Crunch.
Yes. Yes, I've heard that. I like that quite a bit.
I'd never heard that before. I made that up the other morning when I was making breakfast, and John looked at me like he was going to kill me. I thought it was funny.
Excellent. It is funny.
It's fucking hilarious, goddammit.
Synonym Toast Crunch? That's very
Synonym
funny.
Toast Crunch. Love it. Told Ellie to
Clever
tell her teacher.
wordplay. Ah, goodness.
Come on, her teacher's name is Miss Stout, and she's short.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's outstanding.
You can't write this shit. Anyway, what's new at Stone Age Gamer? We've wrapped. By the time you're listening to this, we will have wrapped up our Black Friday sales extravaganza. But the new thing that happened this week that kind of got overshadowed because of it happened right in between the Purple and Black Friday sales is we finally started carrying the Harmony cart. It's a flash cart for the Atari 2600. This is something I've been working on putting together for a long time. I've always thought that we should carry it, and everybody else at SAG thought we should carry it too. I actually made it happen. I finally was able to contact the person who makes it. We put a whole thing together. We have our own exclusive version of it with a label and bitbox and everything. It's marvelous. The Harmony cart is a great cartridge for Atari 2600, and I'm super proud we're finally carrying it. You can get your Harmony cart, your fancy Stone Age Gamer edition, right here at StoneAgeGamer.com.
And you damn sure better.
You dang sure, but if you have yourself an Atari 2600, I was really happy with
even if you don't.
Just get one. They make great gifts. They have a fresh pine scent. They pull taffy, tow cars.
Confuse the shit out of your neighbors?
Yes, indeed.
I got you this. I don't know why.
What is it?
Just did.
It's the Harmony cart. Encore edition.
Look at the label. It's exclusive.
It's funny. The labels that they made for it look really nice. One of them looks like the Atari 2600 Junior. One of them looks like a Woody Atari 2600, and the other one's solid black. Really happy with the designs they came up with. So,
that's awesome.
Anyways, that means it's time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everybody's favorite segment. Strap yourselves in for Week Old News. Welcome to Week Old News, where we talk about all the news that was new a week ago. Another light week. 'Tis the season. Really, all the news stories have been like, this is what you can get on this Black Friday sale. This Black Friday sale. Sales and sales. But this one's fun. Nintendo Life reports Vampire Survivors' new roadmap is ridiculous, and we love it. Have you seen this, Dan?
I have not.
I know you said you wanted to keep your eyes closed for the bulk of this, so I will just explain it to you. This Vampire Survivors...
I feel like that needs context, but I'm not going to give any.
Dan has a headache. It's fine. So Vampire Survivors posted on Twitter, Vampire Survivors isn't over. We have more content on the horizon. Here's our highly cryptic Chaos Roadmap update. Good luck working out what's next. So, it's a video of a bunch of rotating nonsense. Looks like looks like the solar system. In the middle is a red circle with garlic in it. It says mozzarella. There's the words hammer, emeralds, the co-op, or is it the coop? Because it's not hyphenated. It just says the coop. Final flight with a knife next to it. Pyroclasm, Laboratory, Operation Gun, Space 54, and Ode to Castlevania, and Dark Hasso. Like I recognize those updates.
Right.
Something called West Woods, House, MMXXV, a little jingly bell. It looks like a map with red on it. It's just a bunch of swirling nonsense, really. I'm sure it means something, but I'll be damned if I know what any of this is.
I just want House to be Splatterhouse. And it's not going to be, but I want it to be real bad.
I clicked on this, the most common response that I saw on Twitter was that people want it to be like House MD, the show.
I mean, I feel like that's just as good.
I want to walk around as a grumpy Hugh Laurie telling people things are lupus.
Just diagnosing shit left and right.
Yes.
I mean, what? They're fucking maniacs, man. They're absolute maniacs.
I just... I love them so much. I love this game with all of my heart. Yeah, I'm so happy that it exists. I'm so happy it's not over.
Just absolutely
I don't know
brilliant.
where they go from Castlevania. Like, I hope they don't try to top it immediately, because then you're going to wind up in a real situation, because the Ode to Castlevania is a fucking lot.
It really is.
I
feel like you got to go a couple smaller things in between.
There's got to be more, like,
still cool and interesting.
Oh, for sure. There's got to be more Dark Hasso, because there's only, like, 5 or 6 Dark Hasso cards so far, and like there's a whole menu of them. So like we got to get the rest of those. I just I have so much more than the Castlevania one, and I've put so much time into it already. But I know there's like several more weapons to get, tons more characters to get. Like I still haven't found the miserable little pile of secrets.
Me neither.
I love that that's a thing. It's a little bag that says P on it. It's a pile of secrets.
Yeah. It's outstanding. It's fucking outstanding.
I love it.
They are one of the few developers at this point where I just have complete faith, though. Like whatever it is you're doing, I'm into. I'm sure it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, they have not come close to letting me down yet. So nothing but love. All right, next up, Time Extension reports Polymega System Update 1.1.32 now available, and boy, does it do a lot of stuff. So much so, it's recommended you use an Ethernet connection. So, Polymega is that system that, plays a bunch of old systems with add-ons and stuff. Yeah. We reported a couple of weeks ago, I think, that they were making Polymega exclusive games, and like they were putting compilations of games similar to what they have on Evercade, but making them specifically for Polymega, which I thought was a really good idea. So let's see. The features in this update are added support for Polymega Collection games, as we were just talking about, added Atari 2600 and 7800 game library to Polymega's game database, added ability to restore original bundled games from the settings and initialization menu. That's a fun word to say. Initialization. Virtual display options have been revamped with new scanline RF and composite and monochrome filter modes. Note, to enable 720p, turn on Legacy 720p support option in the video game settings menu. Improved recognition of N64 cartridges using the Ultra Element module. Added ability to clear N64 acceleration data files from your local machine. I don't know what that means. And significantly improved browsing movement speed and response time when navigating Polymega's onboard game database. And then there's just a whole bunch of bug fixes and stuff, too. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I mean,
awesome.
You love to see, like, that kind of support continue for these systems, that are
for sure.
These kind of weird, very niche things, but still getting love, like, make people's purchase worth it. That's great.
Yeah, the Polymega was an interesting machine to begin with, and I've always been interested in it, except that I still have most of these original consoles, so I don't need a new machine that does that.
Right.
But I really like the concept of it, and I forgot Atari purchased a portion of this company, too, so They said a while back that they were going to start putting like a couple of Polymega attachments. Like if you have a VCS, you basically have a Polymega. So I wonder where that's going. I wonder if that's still the plan, because that's pretty cool.
Because that would be cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting a new disc drive.
You have a VCS.
Exactly, I have one of those. So if I'm just getting a relatively inexpensive disc drive that can play my Saturn games and stuff, rather than my system,
that'd be cool.
That would be cool. No. I guess we'll see. But hey, good for Polymega. Way to keep it up. I usually usually don't post much in the way of rumors here, but it was a light news week, and this one kind of caught my attention. And it showed up everywhere. Push Square is reporting that the rumor that Mortal Kombat 1's future DLC is canceled after poor sales of Chaos Reigns.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's not great.
No.
But, I mean, I don't know. Are people just fucking tired of DLC at this point?
You know, I think the characters that they added to it, like the movie characters they've been adding to them, I feel like that's getting kind of silly. I feel like that's really out of place.
It's kind of run its course,
like
at this point.
The Scream dude, Ghostface, he's not a martial artist.
Yeah,
like he's a slasher. No. He's not a fighter. He stabs people. So like having him be a kung fu fighter against like the likes of Scorpion is like, that's a little odd. The Conan the Barbarian, the T-1000, like, okay, cool, but
yeah, like it
was like Star Wars characters in Soul Calibur, but like times a bajillion. Like it was a neat enough novelty, but it felt weird. And it still just
felt out of
off.
place,
like,
certainly.
Because like for fuck's sake, just make a Star Wars fighting game using the Soul Calibur engine. Why is this so hard? Don't put Yoda against Mitsurugi. Make a Star Wars lightsaber fighting game, you bastards.
Fucking do it. Just copy and paste.
Yeah,
just copy and paste and fucking change the skins.
To be anything other than a reskinned Soul Calibur. I don't need, because Soul Calibur is great. I would love to just play that with Star Wars characters.
Yep, 100%. Do you want fucking make Mace Windu Voldo? I don't fucking care. Whatever. Man, it's fine. Fucking Sam Jackson just rolling around being all fucking weird. Do it. Do it.
No, make the Emperor Voldo.
I mean, I feel like that one actually kind of tracks, though. Like, that's not as funny. The Emperor should be like, I don't know, fucking Maxie or something.
It wouldn't even do anything. You'd just have to put a cloak over Voldo.
Oh, God. Yeah, no, I think there's maybe a point to that, though, of like, because Mortal Kombat's always kind of been tongue-in-cheek, right? Like, there's definitely like, it definitely doesn't take itself too seriously. Like, not that it doesn't take itself seriously at all, but there's certainly an element of like that over the top nonsense of it, of like the friendships and the babalities and all of those things. But it all still kind of worked. I don't know, man. I will say that like I look at those games now and I'm just like, man, all right, it's like $60-$70 for the base game, and then like if you want to buy a season pass, it's like another $30. Like, just come on, man. That's a lot of fucking money. You know,
I do. It's not been even vaguely tempted to buy a new Mortal Kombat game in a very long time.
And you look at something like the Marvel vs. Capcom collection that just came out. It's like $50. So already, and sure, they're older games, but you know, you're getting 4 or 5 games for $20 cheaper, and they are just some of the best fighting games ever made. Like, if that's your jam, you know, these are fucking games you want to play. Whereas, you know, you're looking over $100 for Mortal Kombat 1. Like, I don't know, man. I don't see the value in that. And like, I know one of the things that pops up around this time of year every year is like, check out the fucking Toys R Us ad from like 1996. And I saw one today, and like, we forget what disc-based gaming did to the industry, because like I was looking at it, and this I believe it was 1996 for the Super Nintendo. NBA Hang Time was $70. in 1996 money. Like, that's fucking nuts.
Cartridges got beefy, and then CD-ROMs rolled around, and Sony was just like, hey, check this shit out.
Check this out, $40, done. And you were like, oh shit, all right. And then that kind of set the standard going forward, so $70 today isn't what $70 was, in 1996, certainly. But it's still not nothing. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough value prop, unless you have somebody to play it with. Like, yeah, it doesn't make sense for me to buy it, but that's fine. I don't need to be buying more games anyways. I've barely played the Marvel vs. Capcom collection. It's great,
sure.
But I don't have anyone to play it with. I wanted to have it because I wanted to have it in case somebody comes over to play it with, like, I wanted to have that collection on a functioning cartridge and nobody could ever take away from me. And now I do. No,
that's right.
I don't regret that decision in the least. Anyways, moving on. Nintendo Life reports Nintendo Switch Online services will end in China in 2026.
Is that worrying?
I'm not sure. It's a... it's very specifically a Chinese thing. So let's see. Tencent Nintendo Switch will shut down all online services in 2026 in China. According to the statement, Tencent Nintendo Switch is offering users the opportunity to redeem blah, 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 blah. What's the actual story here? It's only Switch consoles sold in China because Tencent runs the whole thing in China. This story doesn't really... It's not known
the Chinese
for sure
gaming
why
market
this decision has been made, though unconfirmed sources highlighted by Chinese Nintendo state that the online service in China had been run by a longtime partner of Nintendo. However, unspecified changes in the way that the partner conducts its business means that it can no longer offer its services to Tencent Nintendo Switch. So yeah, it sounds like some sort of weird businessy thing.
I don't know, man.
Strange.
I do not pretend to even a little bit understand what is happening in China.
Same.
Like, it is its own fucking thing. And it is just so very different from the rest of the world.
Yep. Hundo P, my friend. I will not pretend to be an expert on that particular subject.
No.
And last but not least, this is just a fun story. Destructoid reports, prepare to be disappointed. Devolver delayed stream returns tomorrow. So, the fine, crazy folks at Devolver Digital have put together a, awards show-style presentation for games that are being delayed.
Which is...
They're doing, an online...
Just perfect.
Yeah, chef kiss. I love it. I took a look at, it. I didn't watch the whole thing. I think it's only 3 games. It's Best Inadvertent Trip Simulator goes to Baby Steps, which has been delayed until January, I think. Best Late Stage Capitalism. Looks like these are sales, actually. Okay. So yeah, Best Late Stage Capitalism was announcing a bunch of sales for Stick It to the Stickman, Plucky Squire, Pepper Grinder, Children of the Sun, The Crush House, so a bunch of stuff. We got Best Glass Demon for Skate Story, which has been delayed, and then Best Color Version goes to... I didn't know this was a thing. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, I didn't check this last one. Oh man, I want all these and none of them are real. Downwell Color, Gato Roboto Rainbow Edition. I would totally play that in color. Minute Virtual Boy Game of the Year Edition. I would play the shit out of that. And Volvy's Adventure DX. So which one of these is real? Volvy's Adventure DX has been delayed to 2025. I didn't know they were making a real Volvy game. That's fucking great.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
But not for nothing.
Why wouldn't they?
I would absolutely play a Virtual Boy version of fucking Minute.
Of Minute?
I would absolutely play a Downwell in color, and I would love to play Gato Roboto in color, but those bastards. So, yeah. That's wonderful news, and I love Devolver Digital.
That's great.
They're so screwed up.
They really are. In the best possible ways.
Yes, indeed. And that's going to wrap up week old news. That's all we've got. So we're going to take ourselves another quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about Ranger X For the Sega Genesis, you're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from geekade.com. Stick around.
Hey there, Stone Age Gamer fans. Are you also fans of Star Trek? Well, maybe you'd like to listen to yet another podcast, maybe yet another Star Trek podcast. You see, me and my friend Majid, every other week, we talk about the original series, we talk about Strange New Worlds, we talk about Star Trek. We have a third friend, Brad, who's sometimes here, but he hasn't been. I don't know why. So come on over and listen to our show, yet another Star Trek podcast at yetanotherstpod.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
When you hear the words cross-stitch, you probably think of a grandma lovingly making a Christmas stocking, a picture of a lighthouse, or maybe a Bible verse with flowers. But that's not what we do at Shoot the Moon Stitches. We take the old-fashioned art of cross-stitch and pair it with contemporary themes and imagery to create striking works of art that make the perfect gift for anyone who grew up with the internet and has a wicked sense of humor and an appreciation for pop culture. From cult favorite TV shows and movies, to retro video games, to TikTok trends. If it's made you smile, chances are we've stitched it. You can shop our selection of art and gifts by going to Etsy.com and searching Shoot the Moon Stitches. For all your fun, feminist, fandom fiber art needs, visit Shoot the Moon Stitches.
Hey, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Andy. Neither of us are David Crane, but we are the hosts of David Crane's Amazing Movie Time.
That's our monthly Geekade Patreon exclusive podcast that covers movies that are cult classics, weird, or just sometimes laughably bad.
We ourselves have at least two of those qualities, so I guess it makes sense to hear what we think of those movies in retrospect.
You can hear all that and more by becoming a Geekade Patreon supporter.
And, as always, be kind, rewind.
Do you enjoy the Stone Age Gamer podcast and other shows on the Geekade Podcast Network? Do you wish you could listen to them sooner than the regular unwashed masses? Do you wish you could contribute in some way? Well, then you should check out the Geekade Patreon. Yes, the Geekade Patreon is a wonderful and very much appreciated way for you to help us pay the bills and keep our shows running week after week. As a Geekade patron, you'll get a monthly podcast topic schedule and early access to nearly every show on the Geekade Podcast Network, as well as access to a patron-exclusive monthly show called DC's Amazing Movie Time from the creators of the Weekend Rental podcast. So head on over to patreon.com/geekade and become a loved and appreciated member of the Geekade Patreon team and get early access to shows like the Stone Age Gamer podcast, this week's episode, Turning Tracks, and a whole lot more. See you there. All right, everybody, we are back. We're here for the Alphabet Super Series, but real quick, I wanted to give a quick shout out to, over on Blue Sky, Space Lord 64. He sent me a message on the old Blue Sky, and he seems like he's going through a bit of a rough time right now, and he said he looks forward to the show very much, and it's been helping him through a rough patch, and, well, that just means the world to us to hear, and I hope things get better for you soon, Space Lord.
Fuck yeah, man. Join the Discord. If you haven't already.
Yes, if you haven't already, come join us on Discord. And as Danny DeVito said, it could be worse. My nose could be gushing blood.
Nose could be gushing blood. Unless that's what's happening.
And he bit that guy's nose off. That's true. Are you currently helping the Penguin run for mayor? Because if you are, you need to rethink your career choices.
Are you, Alice, currently menstruating? Sorry.
Really? I still got to keep spinning. Son of a bitch. Down $8 on this one, and it still hasn't blown through all of my bonus money yet. Son of a whore! Anyway. Ranger X. Dan, talk to me about Ranger X. Why'd you pick it? When did it come out? What's it for? Give me the lowdown, the rundown, the skinny. All those words.
So, Ranger X is a Sega Genesis joint. That was released in Japan in May of 1993, then Europe in August of 93, and October in North America of 1993. And this was one of those games that, like, Sega did some really some really interesting things with like the run and gun type genre, right? Like some of the treasure games that are on Genesis are just some of the coolest, most fun, interesting games that are out there.
This is a genre that the Genesis does very well, like visually speaking.
It does.
It's very well, like side-scrolling shooters. Shoot 'em ups, you got a lot more of those on Genesis than you did on Super Nintendo.
Because it's got that blast processing, so it could actually handle them.
It's all about that blast processing.
Obviously. So Ranger X was always one of those games that I saw and I was like, man, that game looks really fucking cool. Like, that looks really impressive. It was developed by a company called GAO Entertainment, which was spun off, I believe, from Wolf Entertainment originally, and they are now known as Nex Entertainment or Nex Tech. Something like that. They eventually got bought out. This is the only game that they released as GAO. But then they eventually got bought out. I forget what they did right after this, but they stopped operating as a company in 2016. So they were around, for a while. They did a bunch of shit in the arcade. They did Time Crisis 3 and 4. They did a bunch of stuff on Dreamcast. They did Dino Crisis, Code Veronica X, Shenmue, did the GameCube Code Veronica X. So they did a bunch of things. Oh, that's what it was. Ranger X was their Genesis game. Then they did Crusader of Senti.
Oh, okay.
Which is Soleil in PAL regions. That was what they did, but they were Nex Tech at that point because they got sold. Anyway, I just always seen this game and I thought it looked really cool. And then, so I sat down to play it this week because, we give ourselves a month to do this, and then Kris usually waits till the last day. I usually wait till the last week. And fuck, man. So
that's exactly how I feel. Fuck, man.
Just what a weird fucking control scheme. So the main hook, the main gameplay is that you're this like exoskeleton thing, the Ranger X, I guess. And you control this thing. So the D-pad moves you left and right. Up activates your jetpack, which you have a meter down on the bottom right-hand corner for because it's this really floaty, weirdly weighted jetpack that you only have a limited amount of time to use. There's no jumping. You're just the jetpack. And then the A button shoots to the left, and the C button shoots to the right. And the B button activates your special weapon, of which you can pick up multiple different special weapons throughout the stage. But when I say that the A button shoots to the left, it does not matter in which direction you are pushing the controller. If you hit the A button, your dude just fucking turns around and that's the way you're facing until you hit the C button to turn around and face to the right. Now, if you have a 6-button controller, you can then also control this little like mech sled thing in a couple of the levels that you can like ride on. You can control it individually with, I guess it would be like what the X button would be to move this thing to the left, the Z button would be to move it to the right, and the Y button would change your special weapon. You can jump on this thing and dock with it and move together, or you can move them both independently, which I don't have enough fucking fingers for. This is such an incredibly frustrating game to control that I want to love this more than I do. And I feel like at a different time in my life, if my hands, like I've talked about over the last couple of weeks, like the neuropathy getting bad in my hands and not being able to like feel things in my fingertips. That certainly did not help with my playthrough of this game. I feel like at a different time in my life, I would absolutely love this game for its quirkiness. And this is a game that, there are games that are like, oh, this is easy to pick up, but difficult to master. This is difficult to pick up and even more difficult to master, I think is the way that like you would put this. Just because, dude, it looks incredible. The graphics in this game are great.
Hard agree.
Like,
this is
all the way through.
Really playing to the Genesis' strengths. I had to look up a YouTube video for what the rest of this game looked like because I was incapable. This game fundamentally disagrees with my brain. I could not get past level 2. I just couldn't do it.
Level 2 is so much harder than level 1.
That's true.
It's so much harder.
There's the no jumping, the jetpack that runs on the same energy as your special weapons, and I can't do it. I couldn't play this game. It's just It's hard. This game just goes against my innate, the way my brain functions. I could not do it. But man, there are some cool looking stages later in this game. The explosions have a real good feeling to them, but I never felt like I was doing any damage. Like, it almost...
I was going to bring that up too. Like, the enemies are a little bit too bullet spongy.
My God, there were these little, like, floaty worm tadpole things or whatever that came out of the rocks in level 2, and I'm, like, shooting this thing for 5 minutes. Like, what are you made out of?
Well, see, because there's a little section right before those little bubbly things that these little worms come out of, that if you fly up to the top of it, sunlight comes down. That is how you recharge your special weapons, is through sunlight. And if they fly in, but it doesn't fucking explain any of that because this is a game that came out in 1993. Right. So you just got to kind of fuck with it and get to it eventually.
That's super fucking clever, though.
It is. Like, there's so much here that, like, I think there's a way better game here than what this game is. However, that being said, I could absolutely understand if somebody was like, oh my God, Ranger X is in, like, my top 5 Genesis games of all time.
It reminds me a lot of trying to play Turrican on the Genesis. Like, I couldn't get the hang of it. But then once they ported Turrican to those new collections on the Switch, where the multi-directional gun was just on the right analog stick, now we've got controllers that can handle...
Perfect. Yeah.
Like, this game needs to be ported to a modern system with a whole new control scheme is what it needs. And...
it would be so good.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential here. But, like, as much time as I attempted to spend with it...
It's so hard to play.
It fundamentally goes against the way my brain works. I couldn't do it. And it was kind of a bummer because I liked what I saw through the rest of the game, as I was flipping through the YouTube video. But
the boss designs are really cool, and they're interesting, and some of them are like these gigantic, like, screen-filling bosses.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever played a game that controlled like this. I can't think of anything else that plays the way Ranger X plays.
I mean, not quite like this. Like, you think Double Dragon 2, you attack one direction or the other direction depending on which button you're pressing, but for the most part, I mean, it didn't even.
But that's like 2 buttons.
That's
like
2
it's
buttons.
not.
This is like if you have the 6 button, you're controlling the damn tank and you separately, but like not with a dual analog stick or anything. You're just using your one thumb. It doesn't work. It's
fucking wild.
I'm sure there's expert players out there who can do this like it's this most second nature thing in the world. Similar to, like, I've seen people playing Turrican. Before the right analog stick was a thing, and just being able to bust out that spinny gun and aim it and do their thing. I've never been able to do that either, which is why I was so thankful for that new Turrican collection, because I could finally play through those games, because that just wasn't something I was able to do. Again, that game kind of fundamentally disagreed with me, but to a much lesser extent as Ranger X. But to your point about the visuals, like, I think the visuals are great. The music's pretty good. I thought the music was really good. Farty noise going on, like the instrumentation, but the compositions are wonderful. I think the explosion sound effects are great. This game does almost everything right except be fun to play.
Yeah, I had a very, like I said, at a different time in my life, I could see myself like, no, fuck this, I'm going to figure this out, and I am going to get good at this game. Because I feel like if you spend the time with it, like you're saying, like if you can wrap your head around the controls and get to that point, like, there's a really cool fucking game here. It's just so fucking hard to play. It's just so hard.
Buried underneath this, the people who made this were clearly insane. Like, you've got to be a complete nutter to come up with this control scheme.
Yeah, it took me so long to just get through levels 1 and 2. I got to level 3, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I just couldn't. And I kind of pride myself on finishing most of the games that we pick for these series that we do. This one I couldn't. I just couldn't fucking do it. Yeah, and that bummed me out. I really wanted to.
I get it.
That said, I still think people should check this out because there's something here.
For sure. I definitely agree. It's just a very interesting Genesis game. And it is a very Genesis-ass Genesis game, but it really plays to the system's strengths, with the exception of its controller.
Yeah.
It was just ahead of its time. I think that's really I think that's honest to goodness. I know it's a cliche thing to say, but I do think this game was ahead of its time because controllers just weren't made to handle something this complex well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wonder if it would be better playing it with just a 3-button controller. Because if you play the 3-button control, to not even worry about the thing.
Yeah. Maybe.
But then I don't know. There's so much there's a lot of strategic shit that you can do with the little fucking sled motorcycle thing, whatever it is. Because there's also later in the game, there's a big ship that provides air support that you can't control. You can only control the little thing that's on the ground.
Because you can't control me.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know, man. This is a fucking wild ass game. I'm glad I played it.
Me
and
too.
I see why I see why this gets mentioned on the hidden gems lists and all that of this is a game you probably haven't played and you should check out. And I totally agree with that sentiment.
Yes, you should try it. Just, be prepared to probably not like it.
Be prepared to fucking throw your... This is a controller thrower. That's what this game is. This is fuck! Just throw your controller going outside.
Well, let's see. We had some folks in the... we had some conversation in the... some conversing in the old Super Series chat here. So let's see. Where are we at? This is... Where does Ranger X start? All right, Chronodin says, okay, some thoughts. I spent a few minutes with this. The game looks really neat, sounds decent. The vector-style graphics in between stages are really cool for the Genesis. I agree. Those little vector map-looking things were pretty snazzy.
Oh, yeah, those were neat.
Reminded me of Overdrawn at the Memory Bank, the Mystery Science Theater terrible movie that was I just saw on Thanksgiving Turkey Day Marathon. Let's see, where did it go? Where'd Discord go? I don't know that I've ever seen anything quite like it. The gameplay is pretty original. Controlling both the mech and the motorized bike thing is a neat concept. It took a while to figure out the controls and even how to use both weapons, plus ducking down into the cycle thing to switch weapons. All that being said, I'm not sure that it adds up to a very fun game. I think I'd really like to go watch a playthrough of it on YouTube by someone who really knows how to play the game. Well, I think there are some really cool ideas, and I applaud the attempt at doing something very different. I just didn't think it was all that fun. It's also not very easy at all. It's difficult to tell if the weapon you're using is very effective against the enemies. Some enemies have attacks that are extremely difficult to predict and dodge. I'm still not even sure where my own health was. I played on normal difficulty and finished the first level. I think I was almost at the end of the second when I ran into continues, which limited lives and continues is a practice that I'm very glad has been generally left back in the 80s and 90s. I get that it was partially a means to extend the playability of a game, and also a bit of a leftover from arcade games quarter munching. I'm sure with more time I could figure it out and maybe even have some fun with it, but it didn't do a whole lot to make me want to keep at it. Hard agree there, Chronodin. Well said. Just didn't have a real good time. Like I said, this game really disagreed with me.
Yeah.
Genix says, I didn't really find it particularly enjoyable either. I got through the first stage and a half and failed out. The different button presses to turn left and right drove me nuts. Looks interesting, though. Let's see. Trashman jumps in and says, it's an objective-based game, which I was not expecting. Thought this was going to be a shmup. The floaty controls take a bit to get used to. Whoa, you can ride a motorcycle or go inside of it. Some thoughts. Angled shots in your motorcycle are key for the first two bosses. Read the manual. Play around with the different power-ups to understand their best uses. You appear to have infinite time, so analyze situations and create a strategy. The faster you dive into situations, the faster you die. Guess I'm the odd one out, but I like this one. It plays like Cybernator or Assault Suit Lanos. Boss and level difficulty seem to be on a steady incline as you progress through the game. It has fairly good effects and parallax for the era. I felt the music was a bit weak. On my first pass, I got to stage 3 without too much difficulty. After reading the manual, I got to the stage 5 boss. Overall, I consider this one tough but fair. I put it right below Power Blade 2 for myself. Good pick, Dan. Well, Trashman, you're definitely better at this than I am. That's just a big old mountain of nope for me. Just no. But you're really just proving the point that we said. There's got to be people out there who can pick up on this control scheme and just it makes sense with them. And then once you get there, it's a good time. So
yeah.
All right.
Wild ass game, man. I'm glad. Glad I went with it. Yeah,
I'm glad you did too. So I think we're going to wrap things up there. Sorry for the shorter episode, but it is what it is. Which means it's time for my pick for the letter S. And I don't know if this is going to be a good pick or not, but I'm going to give it a shot. We're going to be heading back to the TurboGrafx 16. I would like to try the game Silent Debuggers.
All right. Very nice.
I've never played it. I'm interested in it because it's got a neat name and it's a TurboGrafx 16 game. And TurboGrafx 16 is one of those big blind spots in my history. So, Silent Debuggers for TurboGrafx 16 it is. We go ahead and throw that in the old chat.
Sold.
And there we go. All right. Well, with that, Dan, you got any last words before we close this out?
Nah, man. That's it.
That's it. Toast. Dunzo.
I'm spent. Yeah.
Dunzo
Benito.
Washington. All right.
That's right.
Benito.
Favorite actor. Love that guy.
And that is our show. Join us next time for a return trip to the Alphabet Super Series, sort of. Dan and I are going to rank the games that we've played so far, and we're going to this way we can keep a running ranking of them, and I think we're going to wrap each one of them up at the end of one run through the alphabet, and then we'll start over and rank all those and go from there. We're gonna get all this figured out. That's the point of the next episode, is to kind of figure out, come up with a roadmap. Where is the Super Series going from here? Should be fun. And that's it, everybody.
Yeah,
we're on most social media platforms. If you want to get in touch with us, we aren't very difficult to find. All it takes is a quick look at our show notes, and you'll see links to our social media accounts, as well as all manner of other fun stuff, like a link to our namesake, StoneAgeGamer.com, and more useful links that you can shake a joystick at. If you'd like to get early access to this show's episodes, as well as a bevy of other shows on the Geekade Podcast Network, check out our Patreon, also linked to in the show notes. It helps keep this show running week after week, and all our patrons are loved and appreciated. This show's theme song, Squared Roots, was written by Banjo Guy Ollie. You can learn all about his wonderful music and more by following the link to his YouTube channel, also in the show notes. And finally, as always, we'd like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for making this show listenable for all you folks. I would like to thank all you folks for listening in the first place. That is it. On behalf of Dan and myself, keep playing games.